Well, we're back with that book we already started about halfway through. It's called Lost and Found by Anne Schraff. Well, let's see. This is chapter 7 now. Oh, and this is Granny Hanny. You know, I do want to acknowledge some people. The names are Wren, Jamarcus, Riggins, Kiki, Durand. Hey Bernard. Ruth, how you doing, girl? Aaron. Hello. There's Paige, Odell, and Marshall. Hi y'all. Hope things are going well for you. Okay, chapter 7 in this book, Lost and Found. Here we go. I haven't read this one, so I don't know what's going to happen. Seriously. Well, at school the next day, Darcy thanked Cooper again for rescuing her from Bobby and his buddy. Cooper turned her gratitude aside with a joke. Wasn't me done it, girl. It was that kick of yours. Man, you chased them away all by yourself. Oh, Coop, Tara scolded. Stop dissing your own self. You're a hero and you know it. A hero, Cooper repeated. His eyes were huge. For real? You think I'm a hero? Sure, like John Wayne, Tara said. My daddy loves those old John Wayne movies on TV. My dad used to also. That's who you're really like, Coop. John Wayne, only darker. Coop began to swagger around and imitate John Wayne's famous walk, and he did have a very distinctive walk. Gather round, pilgrims, Cooper said in his best John Wayne voice. Here I am, a big black John Wayne, come to town to right all the wrongs you dudes been piling up. Only I ain't got a horse. Anybody want to loan me a horse? Just then, Brissana came walking along. She glanced briefly at Cooper and Tara and ignored them. Looking directly at Darcy, she asked, want to eat lunch with me at the usual place? Well, it's a nice place for lunch, Darcy said to Tara and Cooper. You guys want to join us? Brissana began gesturing wildly toward Cooper's and Tara's backs, trying to make Darcy understand that she was not in the least interested in all four of them eating lunch together. Tara and Cooper could not help noticing Brissana's message. Go on, Darcy, Tara said. Go and have lunch. See you later. We like it right here. Tara looked hurt, but Darcy admired how cool she was about it. Go ahead, Briss, Darcy answered. I think I'll stay here today and eat with these guys. Tara looked at Darcy and declared, You don't have to do that. I want to, Darcy said. Catch up with you later, Brissana. Brissana hurried off as if she could not move fast enough. As soon as Brissana left, Cooper said, Oh, I get it. You feel sorry for us. I mean, it's like when the social worker comes to check on the neighbor lady who's on disability. She acts like she just loves to sit down and talk, but deep down she's looking down on that lady. Scowling, Cooper added, Listen, sister, you don't have to be tight with us. What if I want to, Darcy said, surprised by her own cool. Well, what if I really want to? Well, then, Tara said, That's different. A big grin spread over her face. As Darcy ate lunch with Tara and Cooper, their regulars joined them. Kids Darcy had little to do with in the past. They had often passed Darcy in the halls, in the library, even sat beside her in some classes, but they remained strangers. There was Keisha, whose parents owned and operated a tiny neighborhood grocery store, and there was Hakeem Randall, with a guitar slung over his shoulder. Once, when he set off by himself strumming and singing, Darcy had almost walked over to tell him how good he sounded, but she didn't. Now, he sat beside her talking with Cooper about football, and there was Sharif also, a Sudanese boy who had just arrived at school, and Sonia, who quietly told Darcy that she had never liked Bobby Wallace. Well, when Hakeem finished his sandwich, he picked up his guitar and started playing. It seemed when he sang and played his shyness just disappeared. But he never met Darcy's admiring gaze. He sang lyrics to make himself, that he made up himself. You're starting to sound like bad dreams, the ones that tangled my mind. I'm starting to be fearful of darkness. Seems like you come back all the time. That's pretty good. Pretty good lyrics. Okay, Darcy thought Hakeem was just too fine for words. When he finished his song at last, he looked right at her, and then Darcy looked away. She was shy, as he was. Yet, listening to Hakeem's song, Darcy almost felt that she could tell him anything, even things about her family, and all the time she was at Bluford High, Darcy had never talked to anyone, not even Brusana, about her father and the hurt he had caused. Brusana's father, this was a bank official. Once he was out of work for several months, and Brusana was so embarrassed she did not tell Darcy. Darcy found out from someone else. Brusana's mother was a clothes buyer for a pricey department store. Soon Brusana's family would have enough money to leave this neighborhood. Brusana could go to a better school, one where just about everybody was a 10. Ooh. Brusana had been ashamed to talk about her vanished father. Nothing truly awful ever happened to Brusana's life. It happened only among the low-life people. In their world, fathers ran away. People drank too much. There was poverty. There was drug use. Darcy had hidden her pain from Brusana, so Brusana would not think that she was a lowlife too. But Darcy ached to really talk with a friend about how she had felt. You understand that. Sometimes you just feel better if you can talk to somebody, get things off your shoulders, share your burden with other people. And we're supposed to do that, but you have to be careful who you tell things to. Okay? Always be careful about that. After school, Darcy found Tara shooting baskets in the court behind the gym. Mom did not have to go to work as early today, so Darcy did not have to rush home. Hi, Tara. You like basketball? Darcy asked, sitting down on a bench. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it'll be my ticket to college one of these days, and it very well could be, if she's good enough. Sure, it beats flipping burgers. Darcy looked at her with surprise. I know what you're thinking, Tara said as she expertly dribbed the ball. I'm too fat, but the way I see it, that can change. Coach Williams says I have potential, she stated with obvious pride. Of course, if she keeps playing basketball, she will lose any weight, or extra weight. Girl, you go for it, Darcy said. My grandma always said, jump at the sun and you might just catch a star. Oh, I like that saying. The two girls smiled at each other, and they sat on a nearby bench. It was October, but it was hot that afternoon. Soon the temperatures were cool, perhaps suddenly, but right now it was even warm in the shade. You know what, Tara? Darcy said. The words rushed out of her like water suddenly, released from a dam. My dad just came back into our lives after being gone for 5 years. 5 whole years. Can you believe that? It's just so weird. I don't even know what I feel. I'm just confused. That's wild, Tara said with concern. You mean he just popped in? Out of nowhere. He started lurking around, and I don't even know. And I didn't even know it was him. I called the police, and they told me it was him. He left Mom 5 years ago for somebody else. He's a cheater. Okay. And it tore all of us up, especially my sister. She was only 9 years old and she worshipped Dad. She's sort of been lost ever since, and now he's back almost like a ghost of somebody we thought was dead, Darcy said. So what's your mom say? She gonna let him come back or what? Tara asked. I don't know what she's feeling. I told the police to tell him to stay away from us, and Mom seemed okay with that. He left a phone number in case we wanted to call it, but what would we say? I sure don't know what I'd say. Darcy shook her head. I mean, when he first left, I cried about it, and then I was mad and I hated him, and then I didn't feel anything. I was just numb. Maybe just an empty feeling, like there was some big hole inside of me somewhere, and it just couldn't be closed up. Darcy could not believe how much of herself she was revealing to a girl she hardly knew. That happens. Sometimes you talk more to a stranger than people that you know. It was one thing gossiping about another girl's father being a drunk or somebody's sister getting pregnant, but now Darcy was admitting that there was a large, dark secret in her own family, that Dad had ripped a hole so big and deep that maybe her own little sister was being pulled into this terrible darkness. Oh well. So, what are you going to do, Tara asked. Nothing, I guess. I just wish it could all just be the way it was before. My sister Jamie said that she wishes Dad was dead. I guess that would make it easier. I mean, I might be able to forgive him if he was dead, Darcy said, twisting the hem of her shirt. She's so confused. Those emotions, it's crazy. She can't handle them. She's too young. I'd like to ask him why he did such a thing to us. His family, the one he's supposed to love and take care of and support. I'd like to hear it from his own mouth. I guess I know what happened, but I'd like to hear him try to explain it. Maybe I want to see him squirm and be ashamed and feel sort of rotten as I do, but still, it'd be so horrible to actually hear it, to know that this guy, I hate this someone I used to love so much. Well, you ought to see him, Tara said firmly. Get it all out. Sometimes good people do rotten things. They're only human. They make mistakes, okay? Then they realize the mistakes they made and turn their lives around. Now, sometimes bad people do good things too. That's true. We had a neighbor who was real bad, a drug dealer. He gave a kidney to a little boy who was dying. And then the guy got a sickness that messed up his other kidney. Excuse me. And he didn't mind because he said he can die feeling proud. He said he lived his whole life for his own rotten self. But he got the chance to die for somebody else, and he was glad. Wow. You can't give up on people, girl. You hear what I'm telling you? God didn't give up on us. Ooh, that's so true, and I'm so glad about that. No matter what we do, he doesn't give up on us. So where we get our feeling up, so where we get off giving up on each other. That's so true. But Tara, nothing he says will make it better. Don't you see that? What could you say to make it okay that he left us like that? The thought that he thinks he can crawl back in our lives and be a father and a husband again just makes me sick, Darcy said. Well, maybe he's just passing through, girl. Wants to make some amends and then go back to wherever he came from. Maybe even he's sick or dying or something, and he wants to tie up loose ends. Lots of folk try to fix their stuff when they're dying, Tara said. And that's true. So once you die, that's it. If you make amends or ask for forgiveness and do better before you die, and trust in God, and that he raised Jesus from the grave, and trust in the Bible and God's word and trust in him. God said, trust only in him. He said, revenge is only mine. He said, save the revenge for me. So don't you do revenge on other people. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so Darcy leaned back against the brick wall of the gym and closed her eyes. She felt as if confusion and grief was overtaking her. A dry, rasping sob flew from her throat. She started crying. She broke down. Suddenly she felt Tara's arms around her, warm and comforting, into Tara's shoulder. Darcy cried big, violent sobs. She probably did an ugly cry, like nothing had escaped her for years. It was all built up. Bless her little heart. We all got hurts, Tara said. If we ain't got them now, they'll be coming. It's part of life. Part of life, okay? Tara's hug was more comforting than Darcy ever imagined. It was as if she had left a small part of her sorrow with someone else. Yeah. Other people help carry your burdens. And now what was remaining would be easy to carry. Yeah. When Darcy got home from school, she found Jamie more withdrawn than ever. Darcy took a deep breath before speaking. She knew that now, more than ever, she had to choose her words carefully. She did not want to upset Jamie again. Well, Jamie, I know that you really cared about Bobby Wallace, Darcy began. I remember how you told me that he gave you his picture and said you were his special girl. And I know that all the girls at school were probably jealous of you because you had a boyfriend from Bluford High who drove a cool car. But Bobby wasn't the right guy for you, okay, girl? Any guy who puts his hands on you is bad news. Jamie did not say a word. She just sat there flipping through a magazine. It hurt Darcy to even look at her blackened eye. A swollen cheek. Can you imagine? She's been abused by that boyfriend. The boy enemy. But as bad as the bruises were on the outside, Darcy knew it was terrible on the inside. That was really hurting in Jamie. Mom did not seem to notice that anything was wrong, though. She was so preoccupied with the news of Dad's return that she barely could see what was happening right in front of her eyes to Jamie. I've made up my mind, Mom said at dinner. I went through a few hours when I had a strong desire to call you, Father. I'm past that now. What good would it do? He'd offer lame excuses for what he did, like he always did. He'd bring up all the old stuff again, how it shamed him that I made more money than him, and how that made him feel less than a man. Some men are so weak that they feel that way, rather than being proud that their wife is making more money and they can do more things and be freed up from bills and whatever, buy more things, maybe buy a house. It's the insecure men who can't handle that. How I didn't support him in those get-rich schemes, and how I wasn't a loving wife that he'd hoped for. I didn't need to be brought down by all that. I understand, Mom, Darcy said. Yup, Jamie agreed, but who wants that bum back in our lives anyway? Jamie's lower lip trembled as she spoke. Darcy saw something in Jamie's eyes, the sudden dulling of a spark of hope. A hope, however far-fetched and wild, had risen in her heart when her dad came back. This much had been obvious to Darcy. The daddy who had once treasured Jamie had reappeared. Well, maybe by some unknown magic. Maybe by some unknown magic. He could make her feel special again. Jamie would never admit to such a thing in words, but Darcy knew how well enough to see hope flicker in her eyes. In Jamie's world of ear-shattering hip-hop music, of a much-loved, now almost lost grandma, a boyfriend who hurt and betrayed her, a father who abandoned her, even a slim thread of hope flared bright against the darkness, but now it had gone out. Jamie usually ate her dessert right after dinner, especially when it was Mama's apple pie, but she left it on the table tonight without touching it. She's not right. Something's still wrong, okay? Mom winked at Darcy as if to say, "See, her interest in school is finally blooming. She's hitting her stride, like I said she would." That's not it. Darcy had thought about it. She could not recall hearing Jamie say anything about taking history this marking period. She shrugged her shoulders, decided to ask Jamie about that later. After Mom had left for work, the drumbeat of dismal music flowed from Jamie's room again. The lyrics of the rap had drowned out all the brain-busting beat of changing rhythms. It was just as well. The lyrics were about doom and gloom and woe is me, sad, sad, sob, sob, sob. It sounded as though the music was celebrating the end of the world. Oh my. Cooper agreed to drive everybody to the tidal pool on Saturday. This time Hakeem Randall joined them, which made Darcy both excited and nervous too. She was glad that she had decided to put on a little lip gloss before she left the house. Tara's mom packed 2 baskets full of fried chicken, rolls, and potato salad. Sounds good. Yeah, I wouldn't mind being at that picnic. The 4 of them ate heartily. That means they were tore it up, okay? Before trooping down to the water's edge. Tara and Cooper clambered onto the rocks for a better view, leaving Darcy and Hakeem by themselves. "You play the guitar really well," Darcy said. "Well, thanks," Hakeem said. I've seen you around school. I wanted to talk to you, to you a couple of times, but it's hard for me to meet new people," Darcy said, watching the purple sea urchin slip through the shallow water. "Yeah, me too," Hakeem said. I'm always saying the wrong thing or, not knowing what to say at all." "Well, I guess we're sort of the same," Darcy said, looking up at him and smiling shyly. Hakeem smiled back. "I know this is pretty sudden, but I really like to hang out with you, to see you more, How about we go to see Alita together on Friday after school?" What's Alita?" Darcy asked, her heart thumping happily. "Oh, it's a really fly local band. They play reggae. I like reggae and hip-hop. That keeps the audience jumping," he explained enthusiastically. Darcy's heart was absolutely galloping now. Hakeem was so close in the cramped space on the sand that she could almost feel his warm breath on her cheeks. Oh, he's really close. His eyes seemed to be filled with tiny golden lights. Or was that just Darcy's imagination? It's her imagination. She's falling in love with him. Or was it just her imagination? Yeah, she had been so sad, so miserable, so bewildered over Jamie's problems. Grandma slipping away, Dad's strange reappearance, and now all of a sudden Darcy felt a completely unexpected surge of joy. "So you want to go?" Hakeem persisted. "Sure, sounds like fun. I'll ask my mom and let you know tonight." "Cool," Hakeem agreed contentedly. He smiled again. He's so happy. A wondrous smile. Darcy had never seen one quite like it before. The lights in his eyes sparkled like gold dust. Okay, that's all of chapter 7. Do you want to take a break? Tell you what, let's read it until your reader gets a little tired. Then I'll take a break again, okay? Let's keep on going, chapter 8. And look where we are in the book. Gotta read this much. So we're about 2/3 of the way finished. Let's see how far we can go. Chapter 8. Mom, I met a boy, Darcy blurted out at the dinner table that night. Really, sweetheart? Mom replied, yeah, his name's Hakeem Randall. He goes to my school and he's really, really cute. We got to talk this afternoon for the first time because he came with us to the tidal pool. And get this, he asked me to go to a concert with him after school Friday. Mom, can I go? I won't get home too late, she promised. Well, I suppose so. Are any of your friends going to? Well, I don't know for sure, Mom, but Hakeem said Atlanta is the hottest thing going this year. So, I bet Tara and Cooper are going to be there. Well, just make sure you're home by 10 o'clock, her mom answered. I'm working the late shift that night, so I'll be here when you get back. You can tell me all about what happens, she added with a smile. Thanks, Mom. Darcy grinned and floated off, wrapped in private daydreams. Jamie, however, was not nearly so thrilled. She left the dinner table and went to Grandma's room. She hardly ever did that anymore. When Grandma was well and lived in her own little house, Darcy and Jamie spent a lot of time there. Jamie would race to be the first to fly into Grandma's arms. But now that Grandma was so confused and different, Jamie avoided her most of the time. Sad. Okay, well, Darcy heard voices from